25th Jefferson County Board of Tourism meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have submitted the minutes for the June 27th meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Curtis?
So the innkeeper's tax collection for June was $60,693.24. So our half-year collection is $258,138.89, which is about 25.5% above last year's numbers. Basically off last year, since we know last year was a record year, so still trending ahead of that. We have a current fund balance of $768,213.37. And you guys have those claims. And we have two claims, one for the support of the rodeo for $25,000 and a VMI marketing claim for $5,210.23, I think. That's it.
Do you need a motion to approve
Yes.
those?
And the two claims, please.
I move that we approve both claims as presented.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
On the treasurer report, just said claims.
I mean, if somebody wants to do the report as well, I guess since that just was for claims.
Yeah.
I'll move that we accept the treasurer's report.
Second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All right, Lucy.
I just have a few things. Andrew Forrester will be starting on August 2nd, that is next Tuesday. And then the week after, on August 8th, he'll be actually in the office. He'll work remotely that first week. So we're really looking forward to him being here and providing a lot of good leadership and guidance for the mall. Riverfest is coming up on the 19th and 20th. Neville's Grove is having a Settlers Day, and that's coming up August 27th and 26th and 27th next month. So that's all I have.
Sarah?
Hi.
Hi.
Are you gonna be as quick as Lucy?
I'm going to try. You know what I will do? I will knock off one of your items on your agenda by talking about it first, and that's the Alliance. So you guys can scratch it.
Two into one.
I'm going to scratch it. Yes, here you go. So as you guys may have seen in your emails, we Visit Madison hosted, organized, and facilitated the first quarterly meeting of the Alliance post all the big 6-7 month journey that we had taken. And we had an amazing attendance from the organizations as well as 3 of your board members, and it was just a really awesome meeting. We took time in the beginning to go around the room and talk about, each organization talked about what was going on with them, as well as like if there was any tourism updates, as obviously that's what we're there for, to talk about tourism. So I think shared a few things here and there a bit more than, but it was just nice to get together and talk about what was going on in our community, and that was really awesome. We had the Alliance there, we had the History Center, and the HMI was represented. Taylor was there to represent Madison businesses as well as her new event. and just so much camaraderie going on, a lot of collaboration. Your two facilitators, Dan and Michael, did come as well, and they just kind of sat back and moderated and observed, and they at the end talked about how wonderful it was to see all of us moving forward and leading that effort and keeping it going and alive. And so our next meeting is October 19th. It's a Wednesday. We might extend it from that. We're just going to adjust the time maybe a little bit, maybe add a little more to it. But we'll be collaborating on, what are those ideas that we can bring back to you as a group? What are our needs individually? And Todd Boone also decided to come back and kind of see this alliance go forward, and so his leadership is at the table as well. And so I have 9 pages worth of notes that I took, so hopefully whenever I get those typed up, I'll happily share them with you guys. Would you have any questions about that part?
Just say I went to that, and it was great for me to be there because it taught me what this tourism alliance is about. And it's very impressive. There are a lot of people doing a lot of things all at once.
Yeah, it is great.
It really focuses on that one tourism effort, everybody working together to get things done.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
Yep.
I think that Sarah downplayed it just a little bit. It was really, it was very enlightening to see the collaboration, and I know that she mentioned that, but I just want to emphasize that they are really, all these groups are really connecting with each other, and it was very nice to see. So I just wanted to commend her on that, and but I thought it was a really big deal.
Thank you.
I didn't count how many people were there.
18.
18, yeah.
Yeah, 18 people.
That's awesome.
That's really good.
What was that?
The 2 brand new people.
And yes, exactly.
Springdale Cemetery and the Linear Mansion.
You could have died to get in.
Yeah. But
Heads and beds, I went.
Yeah. So actually, Julie Tevenall had reached out to Lucy a while back about how she's been wanting to promote the cemetery, and so she gave me the contact information, and I've added her on since. And then we met before the meeting, like a week prior, and she was talking about her goals with what she wanted to do with the cemetery tours and how we can help her, and that group seems to be really moving forward with that. And there really is such a thing as cemetery tourism. Respectful
Right.
ones, yes, absolutely. So yes, thank you for reminding me, Taylor. So that was an addition, and then Marnie Leist, who is the new director for Linear, is finally getting around to, hopefully you guys will see her more in the community. She's really had a lot of internal operations and things at the Linear Mansion to do, and get her staffing back up and running and everything. And so she was really looking forward to being a part of that as well, and so she's hoping to get out there. So thank you for that.
And Andrew Forrester was on the phone.
Oh, yep, exactly. He was the other new one. Yes, thank you. And a highlight that I put on here that I don't always put in the highlights is our newsletter. So this is pretty rare, but I did a review of our subscribers last month. Our Constant Contact gives you like this huge list of like who hasn't engaged with your emails in forever or ever, anything. So anyway, I kind of cleaned up that. In my July newsletter that I sent out, had 50.5% open rate, which is crazy for an, average is like, our average has been like 17 and 19, those kinds of numbers. And our click rate was 3.8%, and it's usually like a 1.2, 1.7 average, industry averages. So, and it really just goes to show you that the subject line of emails are so important, as you all know probably in this whole entire room, that, we all sign up for things and you get inundated with emails, and I never wanted to do that going into, with this part of the marketing avenue. I always tell people, if you sign up for our newsletter, it's just once a month, we're just telling you what's going on, that's it. So anyway, to have that big of an open rate was just astounding to me. And it really proves that your subject line is everything. And it just so happened that I did this email after Regatta, and I had talked about the American Duchess going to be here on that following Monday, and that's just such a huge draw. Anyway, I think that that had a lot to do with it. Anyway, I digress on that part, but I just wanted to point that out. The 2023 Experience Madison, Indiana Guide is coming around. We're actually going to have our second print run of the 2022 here any day. We ran it, or basically, we've depleted almost everything that we have of the 2022. Here we are mid-year, so just making a lot of notes on what we need to do for the future, and because that piece is still very, very, very valuable, and you know, just a lot of people use it. So going into 2023, we'll be sending out our signups for our tourism partners for that, sharing with them again every year what we do as being tourism partners, and going forward with that. So just putting that out there. I did sign up for a digital program. I feel like I'm talking a lot already. I'm trying to keep it short.
You're not going to be able to beat those.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. So I did sign up for the digital campaign program with Compass Media. This is a media that, the digital company that helped us win that digital marketing campaign last year. So I'm going to keep with them and monitoring everything, so I'm excited about that. I added CrowdRiff on here because I had an executive business review this past week. We have our renewal that comes up, obviously, and we're also, you know, working on budgets now, and with the contract there's a 5% increase, and so I was trying to figure out what we could do with them to make that, you know, either long-term, you know, contract, you know, or whatever. I still feel like it very strongly that this is a part of the marketing funnel. If you see our website, it's just inundated with these galleries that are, you know, of pictures from our visitors, and there's just so many benefits. I could go on and on about that, but I just wanted to plant the seed about, you know, keeping it in my marketing plan, but also the fact that I might consider a longer-term contract for the same amount of money, but we wouldn't pay upfront or anything. It would just be the same. It just would be, you know, we would pay in each of the annual term. So that would be a savings, if we did a 2-year, savings of $1,800. It is minimal, but it's there. So
Would it help to have that request made in writing so you could review the different options in the savings, right?
yeah, and I have it in my report here that we are working on an analysis so that you guys can see what this past year has been compared to the years that we've had since 2017, and as well as what you're asking. Yeah. So I'll be forwarding that on to you guys. STR report. So we got our monthly multi-segment report for June. This is the multi-segment, the comparison report that compares us to Scott, Clark, Jackson, Bartholomew, and Carroll County, Kentucky. And our occupancy for June was 67.5%, the average. We were third under Bartholomew, and it's always, I always think I say that wrong, but Columbus, Indiana, and Carroll, Kentucky. Our ADR, our average daily rate, was $123.48, which is 1 cent less than the Columbus Bartholomew area. So we're right there with Columbus on a lot of, on everything. Carroll County was 105. They were the third down. But anyway, so monitoring that, again, these are things, those resources that you guys have invested in are things that I'm going to onboard Andrew with, so that he is very well versed in these resources and how important they are. I've also reached out to them to ask them how they can help with the innkeeper's tax increase project. And I did get a reply that they have a one-time trend report, which I have requested the cost of, that can help with that have helped other entities like ourselves. And I don't know the cost, but the other thing that, the other caveat to that is that there has to be that good supply of the properties. So we have the 4 reporting, you know, having the 8 would really help that report with that project. So I'm going to schedule a meeting after Andrew gets here. I'm going to round up the innkeepers again, and hopefully have this have this extra help of and inspiration to get these other 4 properties reporting. I don't know that the Clifty end or the state ends are going to be as easy. So I've also asked him, so would that report be beneficial after our August year? Or if it would be beneficial if we had as many properties listing as much as possible? Because I know that this process will take a little bit. So the timing right now might not be right for the trend report, but I'm finding out for you when that will be. Lastly, there was a roundtable for the Indiana Tourism Association in January for increasing innkeeper's tax. And so that audio and video was recorded. There's a case study with that for Floyd, Clark County, which if you guys have done your research, you know that Floyd, Clark County both were at, they both are Sew-In, Indiana. The brand Sew-In is Clark and Floyd. And they both were at 4% each, and they got a 2% each, as you guys may have seen. So they are now at altogether 12%. And that's led by the efforts of Jim Jefferson that you guys know from some economic development stuff and regional, and he's phenomenal, a great person to lean on. But the case studies there, the documentation, the video, I sent that to you guys. I hope it's helpful as you guys start this journey. So there's lots more, but I'm just going to keep it at that. If you guys have questions, please let me know.
Not a question, but just a quick comment. When we have folks from out of town come to the card shop, I try and offer each one of them the visitor guide. 4 out of 5, roughly, already have it with them before they come to us.
Great.
So they are using it.
Awesome. Really quick, oh, here I go again.
That's fine.
The EIC, I did an EIC report since I seen you guys last for the car show that happened in May, that we talked about having record number of cars. I had reached out to Bobby Little and got that information. He completed the input form, and it came in to over 700,000 as an economic input for that one day. I want to say 1 to 2 days, maybe the Friday, Saturday. And then I also recently had a request from MT Bomber out at the JPG. They do a precision rifle competition. So Joe, I believe his name, he contacted me, wanted help, so I sent him the EIC report. His event's in February. You know, yes, I think there's a great impact in the sense that he's got maybe 30 plus people coming from 30 plus states, and they're all staying for a couple nights, and they're using 50% of the time they're using our restaurants and things. But for whatever reason, the impact came back at 86,000. So I just thought maybe it would be more than that. But that also could be, you know, and how we read it is just, you know, a learning curve on how we're reading it.
Sure.
But just, I just wanted to let you guys know that.
Will you send us the one for the car show?
Sure. I actually sent it to Wendy, but absolutely, I'll send it to you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything in your other?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some
stuff that you
highlights.
want to highlight. So
Yeah, there's definitely some highlights as far as even like when you look at the Google Analytics. You know, we have our new site, and it's just fabulous. And you know, the users just over last June is up 31%. So 18,000 more people are using that. There's up 32%. So on new users. So you know, it's just keep pounding that, and we get a lot of really nice comments about how user-friendly it is and how engaging, and so really proud of that. We do our weekend to-do posts, and we do boost those, and people have come to know and learn to look for that through Visit Madison. I share it on groups. I encourage everybody else to share it, and so there's just a lot of engagement there. We're up 357% on page engagements, and this is going over year over year. So and I know I used to do a little highlight of the main recaps of that stuff, but hopefully when Andrew gets here, I can.
that's fine. I just didn't know if you had never, because I mean I can look through those.
Yeah, I know you can. You look for the green, will you?
Well,
Okay.
I'm black and white right now, so I.
Oh, sorry. All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
The top was next.
Well, I'm one of the sponsors of this proposal that's coming through to us. And of course, Chautauqua has been a mainstay of our tourism program over the years. I think you all have a copy of it there in front of you. The projected budget is between $100,000 and $125,000. The request coming from Chautauqua is $50,000. But of course, when you drill down in it and start looking at the impact that it has on the local economy, that's really where the rubber meets the road. The estimate of the impact on the local industry, if you look at page 3, is $6 million. That doesn't sound out of line at all. I did just some rough numbers on the number of beds available in Jefferson County based on $100 a night for a 3-night stay, and it works out to something like $330,000 just for beds. When you figure in food and the shopping that occurs in the stores on the street, that number goes up exponentially. So this is absolutely a solid program with a tremendous history behind it. And they have not come to this board, to my knowledge, in the past requesting funding, but of course the last couple of years have hurt everybody's finances, and that's really what they're trying to get past, is the losses as a result of the pandemic and the results from that. And I think they've got some representatives here that can probably answer more specific questions than what I can.
Is this for this year? It says 22?
This is for this year, yes.
Where will the $25,000 in marketing go in 2 months? Because that's when the event is, right?
Well, and right now I think is your peak time for marketing it. They've already been marketing to the vendors, to the artists, to bring them in, and they have a significant increase in initial applications from those vendors as a result. So now the marketing will go towards the customers coming in for that event. And in terms of specifics on the marketing, I'm going to refer that back over to the Chautauqua Committee.
Can you all explain the specifics of the marketing?
Unfortunately, when COVID hit and we had to strip out a lot of our budget, a lot of the budget was the marketing budget. You know, when you have to weigh between a newspaper ad versus a portalet, we have to have the portalets, so we had to make some tough calls. So we took what little budget we had left in our budget for marketing, and we've really earmarked most of that this year for targeting artists, trying to get artists here, because if we don't have quality artists, then people won't want to come and shop. So we've depleted what little of our marketing budget we had on that, and then now would be the time when we would start looking at radio and television. We don't have a clear budget because at the time, currently we don't have the money in our finances for a grand scale marketing blitz for the festival specifically, but that would be developed. We have something from years past that we could revisit and then work with Sarah to figure out what would be the best way to spend some money before the festival to bring people in.
That was my primary question, is trying to continue to funnel people to the marketing hub, which is VMI. And logistically, Sarah, how does that look? I mean, you've got what, Chautauqua in a couple months, You know, you've got Andrew
Riverfest
Forest
is next month.
that's popping up here in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, there's gonna be, logistically, how does that work if we were to give them 25 grand for marketing? In my mind, you know, half or some of that goes to you guys for doing the actual marketing and getting it out of there. But then, I think we've done this before, like a year ago, and you all were like, listen, you know, there's only one of me, and there's only 24 hours in a day, and that, I think that's my question.
This is very reminiscent of a year ago with
Right.
Regatta.
Right.
In the last paragraph on page 4, VMI would be spending the next couple weeks developing the marketing plan and then execute the 6 weeks before the event. So it'd be a real quick turnaround. I have talked to Andrew about this. We anticipate like a fee to provide that service. Of course, again, it's reminiscent of Regatta. We get paid to do that for the community, but is there cost that we could recoup some of that to have a revenue generator? But at the same time, we want to get that advertising out for Regatta or for Chautauqua. They only have just a few $1,000s left, so they would really benefit from being able to have a marketing plan and get that out.
So I'm trying to read Sarah's face, and she's playing a good poker face right now, so logistics.
I can't see that face.
See your face.
Aaron's gonna want you to be a part of the poker call now. Jeez.
When was this completed?
Over the weekend.
So what was the total marketing budget? Or what is the total marketing budget?
Is it 25 or is it 50?
The current one that they have right now, or what
Yeah.
they anticipate?
How much do they have marked for marketing?
We currently have only $8,500, most of which has been spent already on targeting artists, call to artist posts, trying to get artists in-house. Previous to COVID stripping out, we had a $24,000 to $25,000 budget for marketing alone, which included magazine ads and things of that nature. A lot of those listings and ads and things that you need to place, you place right at festival time or right after the festival for next year. So that also takes into account some of that. That would be part of that budget as well.
Hang on, I was thinking of a question. What did you just say at the end? That would be for the next year? Say it again.
A lot
sorry.
of the things that you renew for next year come due in October, November, and December.
Right.
So if we spend everything that we have now, we're not only shortchanging, like we don't have it this year, but we won't have it for next year either, because we'll miss the deadlines for next year's, to keep the ball rolling.
I understand. So this is for now and future?
I would think, yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. What is the income that they receive? Do they receive revenue, expected revenue from vendors and such?
Yeah, our main source of income are booth fees. So depending on how many artists sign up, our deadline isn't until next week. But last year we only had, I think,
Was it 129? That's
127 artists, but the income that generated was right around $60,000, I believe.
How many do you have signed up for this year?
When I looked at it this morning, we had 128, so we have one more. But a lot of the artists have been waiting. Like I said, our deadline is next week, and so they'll wait to the last minute to sign up. We have about 80 that I'm still waiting to hear from.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that number.
About $60,000 in booth rental
Okay,
Was last year.
revenue was last year.
okay.
And Wendy, last year they had 127 booths, and right now with a
Okay.
week to go, they got 128, and they're waiting for 80 more to
Yeah,
communicate.
last year was down quite a bit, correct?
Yeah.
Actually, that's think 60 is what we shoot for. We only had 35,000 last year from artist fees. Because we also had a lot of last minute cancellations.
Can we discuss maybe what they need for this year? I mean, is that up for discussion?
I think so. I don't think you have a copy of their proposal, so.
I do not. I know I'm kind of coming in blind.
So the ask for this year is $50,000. It's broken into 3 sections, $25,000 for marketing, $10,000 for hospitality, and $15,000 for expenses for the show.
Okay.
But the lowest hanging fruit is if I can invest 50 grand to make 3 million, I'm doing it all day. I mean, that's the lowest hanging fruit from a business standpoint. And I guess the second question is, and maybe a dumb question, but do we have the money to do this? Is it going to hurt us? And that's to Curtis.
So we have roughly, in what we budgeted, remaining about $34,000 was what we budgeted that would be remaining.
Is there a possibility of matching funds from other organizations like we did with Regatta?
Sorry, we will have about $15,000 at least worth of sponsorships, where 15 is our goal. We are at about 10,000 right now. So I mean, yes, we could raise some of the rest, but nothing compared to 25. It won't be 25. Like, you know, if you guys only did part of it, but.
So we have our approved budget. We have $34,000 left. And, but our revenue has increased significantly.
We think.
And we have quite a bit in the bank.
Yeah, after the 2 claims tonight, roughly $730,000.
I asked, this is a one-time request, right?
Yes.
This is a one-time request, and to my understanding, it's a first-time request from this organization.
And how do you expect it to be different next year?
We hope that the confidence in the artist community for doing shows in the public. Last year we had quite a few people that were anxious about coming back out and being in a public setting. I think that's finally gone from an artist perspective, and we're seeing the artist numbers increase. We're seeing new artists coming. We're targeting other artists, younger artists, to come and try to be a part of the festival. So if we can increase our artist numbers, that would increase our revenue.
Are you seeing younger artists come out?
I think so. I think in different artists, we targeted all over the United States this year instead of just focusing on our region. And we've got quite a few different artists coming in, and not all just pottery and jewelry. We have some other mediums coming, so it'll be hopefully a lot more variety.
Taylor, when you bring the rodeo back next year, it'll be different than Chautauqua weekend, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Weekend ahead.
It will be ahead of it.
Okay.
I just have a hard time seeing that we can spend $25,000 in 6 weeks on marketing. That's the hardest part for me.
Marketing's expensive.
I mean, what's the expensive part of it? The labor? Because the radio ads and the Facebook posts, I mean, I don't know what the plan's gonna look like, but, I mean,
Well,
that type of space has been inexpensive from what we've seen in the past.
my presumption, and you're in a position to correct me, my presumption is we're not talking local radio here. We're not talking local ads. And I would presume we're talking magazine space as well.
I have not had the chance to go over any kind of plan with this organization just yet, to know what their plans are. You know, what they want to spend out of that 25,000. So I'm talking blindly here, but yes, I would agree that that's a lot of money for that amount of time. But I understand that they're trying to take money and use it for the things that, as you know, in my marketing plan, I have to secure now for next year. So I also very much 100% agree with that. So yes, social media campaigns, you know, radio that is not here, that's in the metropolitan areas, is very expensive. TV and radio are very much cost a lot of the same. I mean, their radio used to be cheaper, and it's just not. But you know, it's just finding those opportunities and figuring the plan out.
How
You know,
much?
you can spend the money.
Well, sure,
How much did we spend on Regatta?
10,000.
It was 10,000 and some change.
And we had about the same timeline, I believe, around 4 weeks, 6 weeks,
It
maybe,
was April 8th to, and that was,
so a little longer.
that was the day that I was told, that was the day that I was asked to put the PR out. That was the start of it, and then it became, everything I was doing was combined with Riverfest because I was out there trying to media buy with both.
Sure.
And all my media buying for Riverfest is already complete. So now I'm, you know, getting back at the, starting that. But I mean, the good thing is that you know, VMI has those relationships. People are, you know, willing to find what works best for us, you know. I hope I answered that correctly.
And we targeted a lot of Indianapolis and Cincinnati. There are a few art magazines that we would monthly advertise in that we've missed out on the last 2 years, so it would be good to get back in those. And then to do a small ad in those, they're at least $1,000 a piece. So that would go pretty quickly in terms of for next year, but you're right, something for specifically this festival would be, you know, that would have to be a more immediate needs, but this would also try to cover and help us get our footing for next year too.
Considering your budget, would it behoove a consideration of what can help now and maybe for them to come back for it?
Yeah, I think that would make the most sense. I mean, just reading this for the first time and hearing that a lot of it may be cost for 23 would make more sense to come back and ask, you know, later after the event, because then we're going to have more data and we know what those magazines we're looking for. And
we'll have the EIC.
It's in there, it's 6 million.
No,
But there would be a new AIC.
For this year,
excuse me.
yeah.
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 I mean, I think that they would feel comfortable, I would speak if I'm wrong, with I mean, I would suggest, putting this out there, that whatever you decide on, maybe, you know, maybe that is a pre-commitment. That way they know that they can go ahead and spend the money, you know, or make those commitments and then come back. When is the appropriate time to come back? When is that budget recycle?
Advertising for some of this is a year in advance, correct?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So that they would need the money now for
Right.
2023.
I'm just,
Well, we could come back after the festival's over. I mean, your next meeting is so the next meeting after that would be October 24th. You know, we could come in would that be too late?
I mean, what are the deadlines for some of them? I mean, that's what I was thinking, if we could help for some of them.
Festival guide,
But
festival guides right
you would
now.
know ahead, I mean, you would
Right.
Next
already
year.
know ahead of time on some of those.
I mean,
So we
can
could
you-
meet the deadlines, some deadlines right now, and then come and ask again before the end of the year so that we're not coming into the new year cold with, because and it would help for you guys to see what marketing plan we've been able to work on with BMI, so.
And Sarah just said the festival guide is due when? Indiana Festival Guide? Right now?
Yeah, by August 31st, so
But the Chautauqua's already in there?
they have,
For next year.
they always are in there. They always
I
commit to
renewed
that
it for
one.
next year, that's part, yeah,
That's part of the,
we've renewed it already.
So given that discussion, would you all be comfortable, and this board as well be comfortable with taking that marketing money, instead of 25,000, doing 15,000, and then presenting after the fact, but before the end of the year, to be able to nail down some of those deadlines that come due before January?
yes, yes.
I would feel more comfortable matching the amount that they're putting up, the 8,500, on top of the other expenses they're asking for.
This event brings in $6 million. It's.
Curtis, what would that number be?
It'd be $33,500.
Sarah, is this our biggest one in Madison?
The biggest EIC, yes.
The biggest one we have data for, right?
Correct.
Do we know what Riverfest was last year?
1 point,
Sorry.
what's that? I'm getting that one and Knights mixed up. So Knights is 1.4, and River Festival was, huh?
Was that the
I wish I were on an EIC folder.
Riverfest?
It's over $1 million, I mean,
Yeah.
And the number $6,800 is a COVID number, and you cut way, way back because you were forced to,
The
for the sake
8,500.
of trying to say, the 8,500 for the sake of the event. That's not even a realistic marketing number for what you would normally do.
Curtis, I like what you said, and I see the reasoning. This is our biggest one that we have data for. I like the 40. Just because it is our biggest one, and it's our job to reinvest and recycle back in to continue to bring. And the other 10 with the EIC, the new EIC, the new information, come back and talk to us. And at that point, assuming it's going to do what it's going to do, I have no problem with that, but I'm pushing for another 10.
So was it $6 million last year was the impact?
yes,
Would you
that's
like-
for those days.
Would you like to see the report?
Sure.
Are you making a motion?
I'm about ready to. And plus, I mean, look at it logically. We just ponied up 25 for a new rodeo. And I think it's gonna kill it. And which is why I was in favor of 25 for a new rodeo, and it's year one. This is our seasoned veteran. You know, take care of your people type of scenario. You know. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the partnership proposal for Madison Chautauqua Festival of Arts 2022 in the total amount of $40,000. 15 for marketing, 10 hospitality, 15 for expenses.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I mean, I'm still, can you spend that? Well, I guess you're gonna spend it over 2 years, not just 1 year.
So some of that money is gonna be forwarded to next year?
Paying for marketing for next year, yes.
Those
Okay,
items
so
that, those items that have an immediate deadline.
So, but we're still asking them to come back after the fact.
Correct, but
Yes.
with updated numbers.
Okay.
Anything else, Wendy?
No, I don't think so.
All those in favor of the proposal for 40, for 15 for marketing, 10 for hospitality, and 15 for show expenses, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
So 3 to 2. Wendy, which way are you going?
I'm sorry.
Which way are you voting? Your phone wrote down. Wendy? Wendy?
Can you hear me?
Now?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
I
all
think
right.
you were muted.
Oh.
Go ahead, I missed the whole thing.
So we voted. So those in favor,
Okay.
are you voting in favor?
I'm voting in favor, yes.
Okay, so 4 to 2, so that passes. So. The only thing I would request is that we get it prior. I know it's last minute, but the day of a meeting, I usually don't want to approve much unless I've had time to think about it, so it's more. Any other partnerships and projects?
I just wanted to give a partnership update if I could.
Okay,
So earlier in the year, I had requested $80,000 from Madison Riverfest. Obviously, we'd had a hard year with COVID, missing a year and still additional expenses. Then last year was just a difficult year. We still had the festival, everybody was going home ready to do it, but it didn't hit as hard as we thought it was going to. I stepped in very close to the event last year and trying to figure out where my footing was there. Looking at our finances over the past couple of years, we had some bad weather years and things, and you guys were gracious enough to approve us for $40,000, and we were so very thankful for it. With the stipulation that I go to the city and request a match of the $40,000 as well. And I'm just trying to get in here as soon as I can to let you guys know that I did speak with the mayor today. We had a meeting, we had a couple delays since the lights later on, but we were able to talk about it today. Does not look promising. We had some discussions about what the funds were allocated for and how we could use those. Some additional conversations are going to happen, I think, between the city council and the mayor. But at this time, it is a no. It's a no. So I am asking to potentially reconsider a portion of that, just with the potential budget or the budget that I presented at that point in time. It would still leave us about $17,000 in the negative without making additional adjustments. And I know I'm not on the docket or anything, so I can send additional information. I just wanted to come in here today. That meeting we got out fairly late with too, so, but just kind of putting that on the table, but letting you guys also know an update on it.
What are your pre-sale numbers like?
Currently, we're about 1,800 tickets sold so far. We've also made some additional adjustments this year. Again, just trying to look at finances and figure out where everything lies. We've increased prices on our tickets this year and changed the time frames of when they're sold. So like our pre-sale time frame, which is the ones with the food tickets, if you're familiar, we shortened that and ended it at the 1st of July. So those were up to $35. They're now $40 without the food tickets, and they'll be $45 at the gate. So trying to look at everything strategically and not give everybody heart attacks by raising our prices too crazily. So.
What were our pre-sales last year?
I don't know if I have that with me. Tiffany's my go-to with knowing all of my numbers.
I know the online numbers, but that doesn't mean,
Yeah. I don't have all those numbers with me right now.
we had like 1,400 in online pre-sale, but that doesn't count the physical ones that have been sold, so it was a lot more than that.
What kind of time pressure are we on? What kind of time pressure are we on?
Well, Riverfest is the 3rd weekend of August.
Yeah.
And
We are budgeted with the same amount of tickets that we budgeted for last year of intake on sales. So we're kind of at the one with the sales too, is kind of that other caveat piece. We do have some larger acts that we did go for this year. I will say they were not cheap. Trombone Shorty's huge. He's getting bigger. He's all over New Orleans right now. He's been on TV a lot here lately. Snake Fish as well, so. We're
But-
hoping for high sales, but
1,800 a month out means our sales are bigger than they were last year. But how much bigger is another question.
and those are, again, the pre-sale numbers. So
What's the $17,000 going to go towards?
So previously when we were discussing that, it was supposed to help offset the cost of the blues. Again, that price was probably more than double than it was in prior years because we went with larger acts. But with that, with the 20th anniversary event, we were just wanting to make it a really big show. I should also add that we added, I don't think I spoke about this at all, we added a new kickoff event to kind of stimulate more people to know about us, the Porker's Poker Pub Crawl that's going on this Saturday, to kind of get people aware of Riverfest and I mean, just an additional little small kickoff event that's fun to bring in some more money as well.
I think it'd just be, I mean, we've said this before, but just to be proactive in setting our budget. And I know we just approved, and I know we, 4-2 and all that stuff, but taking a look at Chautauqua, Riverfest, rodeo, all of them, regatta. I mean, this is your all's first year. You guys did a great job. Come to us in like January, October to January-ish, so we can say, yeah, we can approve 50 grand. Yeah, we can approve 35. Yeah, you wanted 25 last year. Yeah, we'll look at 35 based off these numbers and your projections. I think you're just going to have better synergy up here.
I think
if you can just do that.
Yeah, when we talked to the mayor today, we had a conversation where I said, I wish things were normal and not a COVID type of and post-COVID situation, because we would have, and VMI had all of their funding and had all of their staffing, because we could have approached last year to kind of offset what was happening, because Chautauqua probably lost at least $60,000 with no event 2020, and then in 2021 they're bouncing back and they're fighting hard to get those vendors and getting those people to visit, so they lost about $30,000. They have a budget, Riverfest has a budget of $350,000 to $300,000, and both of these organizations, very fiscally responsible. They made sure if a catastrophic event happened, we always talked about tornadoes, but like COVID, that they would be able to put on the event and you know, have that money to make the event happen without missing a beat.
Sure.
And that's what they did. And they were very, very responsible with their money. So then COVID happens, and then the mothership doesn't have, you know, proper staffing, proper funding, and so these volunteers, Chautauqua has about 10 people doing everything. They probably have a base of about 16, but like 10 people that can really commit to whatever their part is. And then her committee, and then Riverfest committee, very similar. But I completely understand what you're saying, that approach early. But these organizations, like I told the mayor, they're used to being self-sustaining. They're used to taking care of themselves. They don't ask anybody for anything. This is huge that Chautauqua would even come here. They take care of their own shit.
Sure.
They get their stuff done. This organization, Riverfest, passionate, just like they are. They get their stuff done, and they're used to taking care of it on their own. They don't go ask for anything. So you've been around for how many years? 20, and they've been around 50 years, and that's a long time.
That's
2
right.
decades, 5 decades of taking care of yourself. So they aren't used to going asking for funding. And you know, last year there was still some uncertainty
Sure.
from what's our bed tax going to look like, where are we going to be?
Sure.
So now there's a lot more confidence in approaching and asking for things than there was a year ago. So COVID makes everything really weird.
I guess what I'm just saying, your point's well taken.
Yeah,
For 2023, let's try to be aggressive.
Exactly.
And October to January.
and in 2023 you'll have the advantage of all the work of the Tourism Alliance.
Right.
All of those partners working together to make some things happen
Right.
and identifying needs. One of the things they talked about was you move the earth, think big, right? So yes, I understand exactly what you're saying.
So without funding, is Riverfest at risk?
We're at the whim of our ticket sales.
What did you
That-
just add in here? You're at the what?
The whim of our ticket sales.
Oh,
like
okay,
the-
okay.
So if we get, and it's not about us ending by, I don't necessarily mean that, but this is our 20th anniversary. We're trying to recover from COVID. We're trying to rebuild that cushion so we have that ability to put on an event where we're not struggling and making it less than what it was where we started off. Having that $350,000, that's a base, very basic event. Artists bringing in a stage, paying for security, getting trash, all these things cost money to make them happen, obviously, but with this being our 20th, there's a little bit additional cost involved, and then the additional expenses that we had to use in 2020.
Right.
With COVID, it's just been a weird couple of years, which I'm sure you guys are so sick of hearing, but
What was the budget for this year? I don't have that application, I'm sorry.
I think, no, you're fine. I presented it in kind of a weird fashion. It was $479,000 is what I had used for our expenses amount. There was the $23,000 that was going to be used for the specialty 20th anniversary amount, but that was including like us getting that $80,000 that we had requested.
So you cut that out since you didn't get the full 80,000?
No, I haven't cut it out yet, no. Like I said, we just met with the mayor today. I literally just grabbed the budget numbers that we got that I presented to you last time.
So 479,000.
is the ask for?
What, Wendy?
What is the ask for?
17.
And we approved 40,000 back in March. Is it March?
Somewhere around there.
March, April.
Yeah. Yeah, I have it in the minutes that we approved 40,000. So what, I couldn't hear greatly, because in the minutes it said they were asking the city to match. Did that happen?
We said we'd give them, they needed 80. We'd give them 40 if the mayor or the city ponied up the other half.
Right,
And
that's
then-
just what I was clarifying.
Yeah, so they talked to the city today, and it doesn't look very promising at all, which is just a political way of saying no.
Is it a dead no?
Gotcha.
There's
So they're asking
conversations.
for us at 17,000?
They need 17 grand not to be in the red.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
That's disappointing that the city said no, because I know Lucy and I identified some money on an appropriation report for tourism that is still available, so it's disappointing that you got nothing. So, there's $15,000 in a budgeted amount that doesn't have any more commitments for the rest of the year. So.
I'll write that down.
It's on TV, so you won't have to.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion that we give Riverfest $17,000 for this coming. We've got the money.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? I mean,
Yeah.
This gets to,
right.
it looks like when I vote no that I'm against Riverfest, I'm against Chautauqua, that I'm anti-tourism, and I'm anti that the city didn't contribute, that we're asking 6 weeks before in one case, 4 weeks before in another case. So, but hey, that's why we get to vote.
What were you gonna say, Wendy?
So basically what I'm going to ask is, Curtis, you're saying there are funds somewhere. Is this something that was a pretty firm no?
I wasn't at that meeting, so I can't answer that.
At this point, the answer was no, that there needed to be further discussion between council and the administration about where those funds would be distributed. The city does contribute a great deal in services, and they do help every event out. So it's not that they, it's not just a no, it's like we do a lot for you guys, and that has to take some kind of weight into all this too. They do so much, but doing more we aren't sure about. It's going to take a more discussion and thought and working together to figure that out.
Maybe we need to have an alliance between the boards.
Yeah. Any further discussion? So the motion has been for 17,000 for Riverfest. We've had a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So, Wendy, you're the same.
I oppose.
Huh?
I oppose.
So get us some numbers on what your ticket sales are and what we're at. I mean, it may be after the fact. We've got to, I know we say we've got money there, but we need to, when we put together a budget, yeah, it was the first year, but we got to try to live by our budget rather than just oh, it's there, let's go spend it. So you figure out some of those other numbers, come back to us, give us some time to think about it. And then I know it would be after the event or right around the event, but then we can talk a little further about that, okay?
Thank you for your consideration, I appreciate it.
All right, on a hopefully happier note, the rodeo is up and running in full force. This is in part to the partnership with you guys, and we do appreciate that very much, as well as some of these great title sponsors. We're receiving phone calls every day for corporate out of state, which is really great. Pendleton Whiskey called us today. We actually received some correspondence from the Calgary Stampede, which was a huge nod. Still working with PRCA. Spent a lot of time on the phone today trying to spearhead internet access to the fairgrounds, which will be basically a donation that the fairgrounds can utilize all year round, not just for the rodeo. Why is that important? Because RDTV's coming to town, so we have the Cowboy Channel, as you would know it. They'll be going live at the rodeo. So that is huge for tourism. We're getting a lot of sponsorship to get on those shoots, that when all of that is televised, all that information is broadcast, and it has a following as big as NASCAR. So a lot of people are like, well, I don't know anything about a rodeo, but if you compare it with who watches NASCAR, there's equally an urban and farm and rodeo community that follow it. We are the biggest event going into the last deadlines for the NFR, which is in Las Vegas. We're big prize money for the Cowboys. It's all about the Cowboys, it's all about the fairgrounds. And the beneficiary is the Saddle Tree Factory. So we have meetings. We do have a meeting with the mayor as well. These title sponsors have been amazing. We have an ask back. We also did come here in November, and you were very gracious and said we could come back. I don't know how that's looking for us at this point. Thanks, everybody.
You should have gone first.
Yes,
We did it in November.
We did it in November. We were ahead. So this is really exciting, the partnership with Wiki, with Morgan Foods. These are sponsorships from Mooresville, Indiana. So we're tapping out, we're going as far out as we can. I know everybody's trying to look local, but these guys are coming in. This is heavy equipment operators. They spend a lot of time and money here in Madison. They were just at the Fashion House for a weekend with their family. The Pro Rodeo's helping us, PRCA's helping us. You guys are helping us. So that's our partnership with you guys. We're doing great. Did you have a couple other things? Did you have anything else? Oh, M3. So there's an after party. We've got really strong response with that group to help us fund. And same with some of the beer garden and all that. We won't let all our cats out of the bag.
Is the after party at the fairgrounds?
It is, yes. And we have everything secured for the alcohol. There was some question, I think everybody had a few questions.
We're the first event approved.
We are the first event approved by the fairgrounds. For that, it is a beer garden, a VIP area, and an over 21 after party. And we're working with excise, so everybody's aware of that. One at Kentucky State Police, a consultant, so that we do it completely right with all the security and all. Alcohol isn't the main focus, but it is part of cowboying. So and events.
Yeah.
So we have that.
60 camping spots available.
We're selling camping spots, so
Yeah.
you know, I think everybody got a little edgy, like, oh, how does this come in and affect Chautauqua and all of that? But there's 60 camping sites for outside ticket holders, and there's an additional 20 for the cowboys and cowgirls themselves in a private area.
And we have.
So we're pretty self-sufficient.
12 vendors so far. The vendor marketplace is free admission. Friday nights, family night, Saturday nights, veterans.
And the nice thing is those halls open after 1 o'clock, but the rodeo itself doesn't start till 7 p.m. And it is very sanctioned as far as it's 7 to 9. So that gives people time to get done if they are, you know, dual, like doing Chautauqua and coming to our event. That gives time in between. Many of the food vendors who are at the fairgrounds have agreed to come and open for us, so we're not...
The donuts will be there.
The donuts, so we landed the donuts. So that was important. Cowboys love donuts, cowgirls, I love donuts. But anyway, so we're not taking away, we're not depleting from what's happening down here or anywhere else. I think we're complementing it. A lot of excitement up on the hill. Things are coming. The fairgrounds, the guys and gals there on the board have been amazing. Scott's been working with us really closely. And we feel like in the future, we're going to grow. We had so many acts, national acts, and various people call to ask if they can participate. We're going to have to wait and hold off just a little bit, just because it is PRCA, until we can grow it. But a lot of music, a lot of stuff happening. So it's been a great partnership.
We envision the week-long, like a kickoff.
Calgary Stampede in Madison. QR code sends you to our website. Hopefully you guys have been on the website or go and see it in the ticket sales. All the information, all the vendor information, everything that's there. It's exciting. I mean, it's stressful, but it's exciting.
We also linked, I sent it to Sarah as well, there is a tab, like a button at the top of the website that says Madison, Indiana. When you click that, it goes directly to VMI's website. So you can see all the places to stay, all the things to do. So that was our direct link with the website.
And we do have a meeting with Andrew scheduled for Wednesday via the phone, so he can help with that, and then some other official people, outside the area. We're really trying to focus outside then in, so that gives you a little more, I don't know, it just spreads it out just a little bit.
And we need support.
We need support, yeah, it's looking good. And you guys are on there in the corner. Maybe you don't want to be at this point. Any questions we can answer for you guys? Things that you had asked us to come back. So we did have matching grants, a lot of in-kind donations as well. Tickets are up and running. We're selling tickets. It's about 2,000 tickets on Friday night and 2,000 tickets on Saturday night. So a total of 4,000 tickets.
That's what you pre-sold?
No, it's what we will sell.
Okay.
We had a little pickup. So now our tickets are officially up and running. So we launched them, and then we had a little change of plan. So they're back up and for sale, and we've sold several hundred already.
Yeah.
Other questions?
So just if you want to send Sarah Morgan, the office administrator here, the link, and she can put it on the county's website.
We love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She'll put up that little flyer.
Okay.
Anything else? Future meetings, next one's August 22nd. It's on. Probably removed the 26th of September, if you guys want to meet with that. That'll win. Anybody else from the audience have anything? Come on. How many, just one meeting tonight?
What's that?
Just one meeting tonight?
Well, no, after there, it's a lot.
Oh,
I have something real quick. Would you like to change the contract to omit a seat for JCBT?
no, we'll get to that. I'm sorry, we'll start that discussion.
Okay. Well, we're going to start working on the budget for '23, maybe look into '24. And we were also going to look at the contract, and that's why I asked.
Sure,
because I
I'll
was
make sure
going
we
to
get
look
to
at
that.
that.
Sorry. I
It's
didn't
all right.
know, and then I don't.
It's fine.
Anything else?
Well, the only thing we have is the budget worksheet that we were sent late Friday to ask if we could get it done this week.
They don't approve it until like October. I know.
So
We'll
I give everybody a copy so they can see it.
We'll look over it and we'll try to, I'll send Heather, because the last change was brought up at the council meeting, and they ask about it, but then they realize that it's not.
It's what?
They figure out it's from the innkeeper staff. Oh, okay, yeah, so, I understand, but we'll get there. They'll get there, we'll get there, so we'll be getting it the day before. Anyway. Anything else?
So ultimately, when does that due back?
Well,
In real life, I mean.
yeah.
Same cycle as what city council
City
is.
is,
I mean,
so we've got a little bit of time.
similar.
Yeah, I mean, the council will not submit the budget until the end of October. But
Same as us.
all the offices have submitted their budget worksheets. But, so,
We got ours Friday at 4 o'clock.
right. Heather's trying.
So we can work through that next month.
It's not Heather's fault, we just,
I know.
first time
It's her first
really
time
doing
too.
it, so.
So I will talk to Heather to let her know it's gonna be ready, and then we'll, not to watch the last part of the tourism.
Yeah.
All right, last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank you for coming.